are here with both Kimmy and Sue Henry. We're going to be interviewing Sue Henry. We're going to be discussing what that's going to be about. But first, I need to introduce Sue. So first off, let's actually go backwards and say hi to Kimmy.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see you.
And Sue Henry is on also. You want to say hi real quick?
Hi.
Great. And so Sue, let's just talk first a little bit about her personal background. Her personal background, she is the wife of an organic dairy farmer. She has 6 grown kids, 6, whew, and 1 boy and 5 girls, and 3 adorable grandchildren. 1 is due in May, so coming soon. She's going to have another.
Exciting.
Yes, very. And so professionally, now onto the professional side of things, Sue has been speaking professionally to audiences for over 5 years. More than 6,000 people, wow, it's a lot of people, have attended her live trainings, workshops, and seminars. Her audience includes people from 18 countries.
Wow.
She made tens of thousands of dollars selling from the stage and the back of the room. She's a New York Times best-selling author in the book Master of Sales. She's an Amazon best-selling author in the book World's Worst Networker. She teaches others how to build a profitable speaking business with her Speak Your Way to Success system. And she's a consultant to speakers who want to monetize and increase their speaking gigs. Now, Kimmy's going to talk a little bit, introduce what we're going to be talking about today, and then thank you, Sue, for coming.
Hey, thanks, everybody. It's so exciting. I'd love to have time with Sue Henry. She is amazing, and she does 15-minute solutions for so many different things. She's so talented. She gives us some good ideas on how to block out our time management, but most of all, she's written a really cool ebook that I think everybody should have access to. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Sue, and you can share a little bit about what inspired you to write this book, and then a little bit about what's happening and what would we find in your book.
Well, thank you, Kimmy. Well, one of the things that inspired me to write this book was that Mountaintop University, a woman who works for them by the name of Kimball, had been reading my blog and liked the 15-minute solutions that I was offering on the blog. So she, through Mountaintop University, contacted me and asked if I would consider writing an ebook for entrepreneurs. And we really focused it on entrepreneurs who a lot of times work from home because there's so many of us. Even if you have a regular job, there are a lot of telecommuters out there. And so this focuses on taking complex issues or everyday issues and breaking them down into simple tasks. One of the ways that I learned this was, having 6 kids and having I worked from home quite a bit in other positions, and it's, you feel guilty all the time. No matter what you do, you feel guilty. If you're with the kids, you're guilty because you're not working on your business. If you're working on your business, you feel guilty because you're not cleaning your house. I mean, it's a never-ending battle. So this has been really fun.
Wow.
Well, that's awesome because, a lot of times, because I'm a salon owner, I don't get a chance to do a lot of things too, and that's one of the things that was on my goals for 2014 was actually chunking up my time. Instead of sitting there in front of Facebook on my phone while I'm cutting hair, I thought, you know what, I could probably 15 minutes before I cut hair and check my Facebook and maybe in between clients. So I bet there's things in there that I would really appreciate.
I think there are.
So Sue, how long have you been an organic dairy farmer?
Well, since 2006. We received our organic certification, and the next day our barn burnt down.
Oh my
How's
goodness.
That for an interesting beginning?
Yeah, no kidding. And then to have to raise a family and you're a business owner and you traveled. How did you handle doing the traveling and being a mom and all of that kind of stuff as an entrepreneur and a farmer?
15-minute solutions. So I found that if I had a task and I allowed myself an hour, I putzed around until the last 15 minutes to get it done anyway. So by breaking it down into small pieces, so for instance, and I learned to do, I learned to do some things in mass per se. So let's take cooking. Everybody cooks, right?
Yep.
And so having a family of 6 and having a husband who's a organic dairy farmer and living in the middle of nowhere, it's not like you just go run out to eat. You would go broke really quick.
Right.
Plus, we've always been a little bit more conscious of some of the foods that we have. So one of the things I would do is I would take probably 15 minutes on a Saturday, and I would chop up all of my onions that I knew I was probably going to use for the week, my celery, and my garlic, and I would put those in jars and put them in the refrigerator. That way, the minute I needed them, I already had them pre-cut, and I didn't have to worry about it. The other thing was I found that we have, there are certain foods that my family really liked. So, for instance, if you look at the tomato-based foods, you've got spaghetti, lasagna, pizza, all of those things. So I learned how to make big batches of sauce and freeze them. And then when I was going to make something, I could just take them out, change the seasoning for whatever food I was making, and throw it together. And in 15 to 30 minutes, I could have a meal for everybody from start to finish on the table ready to eat.
That sounds really terrific. So this would work not just for somebody with a big family, but somebody that's really busy. Say someone's traveling or they're working hard and they're doing meetings or something. They can come home and then they'd be able to pull out a bag of spaghetti sauce and whip something up together. That sounds like a great plan.
One of the favorite things I learned is to get a plastic container that's the size of your crock pot. So, for instance, if I make a stew, I'll make a double batch, and then I've got this sherbet container that fits just perfectly inside my crock pot. I freeze some of the stew in there, and then when I'm ready to use it, I take it out of the freezer, just rinse the outside of the container without water. It slides into the crock pot frozen. You turn it on low, put the lid on, and you're ready to go.
That's awesome. Well, Sue, where can we find a copy of your book?
If you go to mountaintopuniversity.com and click on free ebooks, that's where you find the ebook. There's several of them there, and this one is on time management for entrepreneurs. And there's a bunch of cows grazing, a herd of cows grazing on the cover. You'll be able to tell which one it is right off the bat.
Now let's go to what would you say for a 15-minute solution, because a lot of people that are going to be watching this are going to be people that are looking into social media solutions. Do you have like a 15-minute solution for how you're running your Facebook and managing your time on your social media platforms? Do you use the 15-minute methods with that?
Absolutely. So what I did was I set a timer because, as you know, if you don't time how much time you're on social media, it can suck you in and waste a lot of time. And so what I did was business is business. So I would set my timer for 15 minutes early in the morning, 15 minutes at lunch, and then usually 15 minutes in the evening. And then generally what I did was I wrote a blog post, and then I would use different parts of the blog post. That's what I would post in my social media and my status updates. In addition to that, though, engagement is the name of the game. It's not where you just post stuff and think, oh, people are going to show up. So part of that 15 minutes was also scanning to see what my friends, the people I was connected to, were talking about, so I could make appropriate comments, suggestions. I could follow up on their links, and so there was true engagement, and that has really made a big difference.
So you're saying about 45 minutes a day, approximately, in 3 chunks of 15 minutes. Kind of similar.
And in a perfect world, that was the goal. I have to admit, most of the time, it was 15 minutes in the early morning. But it served me well. And again, that 15-minute segment, the reason I didn't get nervous at noon anymore was because I found that my target market wasn't on social media over lunch or in that 11 to 1 o'clock time. They were on early in the morning before they got their kids on. So I got more comments between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning than I did the rest of the time. And then anytime after 7 o'clock at night, that's when I got a lot more comments. So as you figure out when your target market is on there, and you can tell by the comments you get and the engagement, then just change up your time. But 15 minutes when your target market is there so you can interact with them is far more valuable than 3 hours throughout the day when they're not on there.
Great tip.
That's so true. Great tip.
Excellent. Well, I love that tip. So 15 minutes can go to your social media. It could go to now. Sue, do you blog? Is that blogging something that you do much? Okay.
I do. And Lisa Celine was absolutely incredible. What happened was I would sit down at my computer to blog. I love to write, and I would have this block, or I would want to write about all these things rather than being cohesive in what my target market was looking for. I was all over the board. I mean, I was a blogging squirrel chaser, every place. and what Lisa taught me was she helped me with a blogging calendar so that every day there was a specific topic that I was talking about within a certain area, and I based that on my marketing funnel. So there's 5 parts of your marketing funnel. Yeah. And what I did was that I just focused one day a week on each part of my funnel, so it helps keep me controlled a little bit as far as what I'm talking about, and yet there are a lot of topics and flexibility within that. I found that the writing took such a little bit amount of time, it was getting focused on what the right topic was. So setting my timer for 15 minutes, it is amazing how you can roll something out and post it onto social media within that amount of time as you practice and become more proficient.
Plus, you can use that content in different ways. That's what's really nice, is write your article once and then repurpose it into different things. So I just love that. Sorry about background noise.
And you use that.
I gotta mute myself. Hang on.
It doesn't matter.
And then it's really great then to take that blog and use that content to turn around and use that as your status updates, because you're bringing great content in, good information that's going to engage, and yet it's still within that 15-minute block. So it's a way of marketing what you need to do or what you're doing in a way without selling.
Yeah, definitely. And you find that you can actually do an entire blog post in 15 minutes, or is that a little bit of a...
Yes.
Really? Okay, I'm going to set my timer next time.
Probably the writing of the blog, and you have to remember, I've been doing it for several years. The writing of the blog, once I have the idea, is probably 5 to 7 minutes. Going in and editing it and adding a graphic is probably another 5 minutes, and then a couple minutes just to post on social media.
Okay. And to preempt that, then, do you have ideas in the works before that 15 minutes then, and then you can pretty much know what you're going to sit down and do, and then you break that into 15 minutes?
Yeah, and it's in my head. It's not like I keep a log someplace, and I know that's a dangerous thing. But I'm more apt to lose it if I put it on a piece of paper than I am if I put it in my head. So what happens is, because I love stories and the effectiveness of stories as parables or teaching tools, I'm always looking around me as I, whether it be the cows, whether it be what my cat is doing, whether it be, yesterday when I was in an event speaking and just listening to some of the people and what they're going through. I mean, all of these different, as a mom who's got a daughter who's got engaged over Christmas and is getting married in February, in April. So all of these things, you sit there and everything has a story. And so as you process it, you think, oh, wow, I could use that story there. And then when it's time for that part of your funnel to come up, you say, here's what I found, here's what I saw. The other thing is that when you are engaged in social media, there are some really, really smart people out there who have some great ideas, great products, great services. And I love to go in and take a look and see what they're doing. And I call it the swipe and adapt method. And then I just take a little bit of their idea, put my Sue Henry spin on it, and it gives you a whole new perspective and a whole new article.
Great. I love this. Yeah, I love the story concept, and I am a big believer in stories too. It's a story facts tell, stories sell. We've heard that saying many times.
Yeah.
And I heard you say that yesterday when you were speaking, and it's something that I think a lot of us forget in our social media endeavors. Is there some specific tips on like just bringing those stories in as a business owner to the social media? Do you have anything real specific that you could tell business owners out there?
Okay, I don't understand your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, when they're posting on social media, there's a lot of posting on the social media where they're just pushing their product, or they're, it's just teaching tips, that kind of thing. But to actually bring the story in, what would be a suggestion of yours? Like just one that comes up off the top of your head for a business owner.
Use the testimonials and stories of your clients and customers. You don't have to use their first and last name. If you just use their first name, because just saying my client is too general. If you say Anne had this problem, here's what she was dealing with. Like the story I told yesterday about the life insurance agent who she didn't want to go out there and just talk about life insurance, to the group because she thought that'd be really boring. And when I asked her, why did you get into it? She had a very powerful and compelling story. And so think about your clients and customers. What things are they saying to you? What problems are they coming in and having? And how did you help them in their solution? Take those and create stories out of it. And that's what people will respond to. And that's the easiest way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's a good idea.
And then the side note is if they've got a business, and ask them if it's okay if you do it, highlight their name and their business and ask them to share to give you even more exposure.
And too, don't you think those stories would be good on video? So like you could take the story from your client and ask them to share their story and then put it on video, and they could share it on their YouTube channel or Google Plus channel. I just like to see people when they share their own stories. I think it adds a lot of emotion.
It does add a lot of emotion, and I know one of the things that people get hung up on is they're afraid to get in front of a camera because they become very self-conscious. And one of the greatest tips I received was, you look the same whether you're on camera or not, so get over it and move on. And I think
that's I mean, I can't hide. That's true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's just hard to watch yourself. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
It is. And again, if you talk from the heart with passion and people can tell of your sincerity and the fact that you're so authentic about what you're saying, that's what makes the difference. It's not somebody up there with a script and some actor who's really good. It's about sharing stories. Storytellers, the greatest storytellers are the highest paid people on the planet.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sue. It's just a delight to have you on the show today. And thanks, Janet.
Absolutely. Let's just finish up with it. She had said, I will put this link on the replay, mountaintopuniversity.com. And then we are supposed to look for the book with images of cows. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a hillside with cows on the front. And I was going to print it out, but because of my internet access, it won't allow me to download it because there's too many graphics.
Okay. Okay. Well,
sure.
Excellent. It sounds like an excellent book, and I thank you so much for your time, Sue. And thanks, Kimmy, for joining us, too.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Kimmy. And what?
Hey, we want to make sure that everybody knows that Sue has a website, too. And you can go see Sue at SueHenryTalks.com. So visit Sue. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We'll
Thanks,
put that on. Thank you. Bye,
Thanks, Janet.